for us. But now the homework is how we can still fighting to show to the world that we are a telecommunication company, that we can also be the king in the world. Thank you. And from my friend next to me, he's one of the most proud of telecom group actually. This year we do acquisition for one satellite company in Malaysia, and which is a big achievement for telecom group as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. Well done. All right. Grab a seat. Thank you. All right. So, when we first spoke, it was around how do we make our dreams come true. And one of the hardest things as a creator, as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, is to know where to start. So I thought I'd spend some time today talking about the journey of figuring out where to focus. A little bit around my background. So when I was 22, I helped found one of the largest movements of university students around the world that solves social impact problems. So we work with not-for-profits in 70 different countries using a fully distributed system of work to lead to profound social change. I then went on and both worked in management consultancy to learn how corporates operate, whilst running a farm-to-plate food business that delivered dinner parties in a box. And through these experiences, I chose them quite deliberately to understand not only how do corporates work, but how do startups work. That then led me to join IAG, which is an Australian insurance company. If you spoke to 22-year-old Lynn and you said, "Lynn, are you going to work for an insurance company?" I'd say, no, never. Here I am. The world is an amazing place. And when you put purpose at the center of everything you do, and when you bring all of your life lessons to solve meaningful customer problems, you can find unusual, meaningful, creative ways to leave an impression on the world. And we get excited about innovation, but at the end of the day, it's about what mark are you leaving on the world. And so that is what I want you to really take away from a lot of what I'm saying. We get very caught up in the buzz of innovation, but you can have your head in the clouds, but your feet, they are firmly planted on the ground. Okay. So I lead Firemark Labs. So we are here to build the next generation of products and services for our customers. We work in-house with our internal innovation teams, much like many of you. We also work with universities, corporates, and startups. We blend and bleed depending on the problem that we're solving. We work on projects with universities, startups, and in-house teams all at the same time. And I'll walk you through why I think that's a really important evolution. But step one, why innovate? This word, it's so loaded. It means so many things. But why? Why are we here? We've spoken a lot about digital. We've spoken a lot about game changers and how to be the winner, how to be the star. What does this mean? Well, I want to talk about what's happening next. So right now, we're speaking about digital and digital technologies. But guys, that is just the start. There is a tsunami, there is a wave of technical-driven change that is coming through, that is being experienced across the world. In the last 2 months, I've been in Australia, in Singapore, in Germany. Today I'm here. In 2 weeks, I'm in Israel, in Tel Aviv. and the same message is happening everywhere. And the key question is why? Why do we keep on hearing from executives that, this came out of nowhere. We never expected this. Why didn't someone tell us? Why didn't our team tell us? Well, actually, there's some really important things to understand around how technology works and why our brains are not built to process this type of change. So I'm actually from South Africa. I'm a trained safari guide. I can track lions. I can read elephant poo and know how long ago the elephant was walking past. I know if it's an adult or a baby. I can look at the paw prints and I know which rhino it was. Now my brain was developed over thousands of years to be able to process that kind of information. And it's amazing when you step back into the bush, into the wild, and skills that we are born with that we never actually use, they come back to us straight away. Because that's what our brain has been engineered for. Our brain has not been engineered to understand the rate of change that comes with technological breakthroughs that are happening today. Our brain knows how to do this. Technology does that. And the thing that makes it really, really difficult to spot is what happens is it's not just a linear progression, but it compounds and it doubles. If I take 30 steps, that's roughly 30 meters. If I do 30 doubling, which is the rate of change for technology, I circle the Earth. And the thing that makes our brains can't comprehend that, by the way. You look at me and say, I don't believe you. It's true. You can do the math. I can show you later. The other piece that makes it really difficult is you only get halfway until the 29th step. And so that's what's happening here. We are not set up to understand this. But what you can do when you start looking for it is you spot the trend lines. So you say, this is flat for a really, really, really long time. And as an executive, you normally say we then don't pay attention to it. It's figuring out the pieces that have this exponential capacity to it so that we start training our brains to pay attention to it. And digital is step one in this journey. So let's take a little step back in time. So I'm going to play a video, and this video is from the 80s. Can I get the sound on the video up?
With intelligent systems. The NavLab is a roadworthy truck, modified so that researchers or computers can control the vehicle as occasion demands. As a mobile navigation habitat, it accommodates researchers and significant computing on board. Because it is self-contained, the NavLab is not subject to telemetry bottlenecks, communication faults, or dependence on stationary infrastructure.
In 1986, which is the first autonomous vehicle that hit the road.
Override automatic control for overland travel, setup, and recovery from experimental errors. The NavLab shell houses all onboard equipment, including
at the time, this was an absolute breakthrough.
Internal sensors. In addition, it provides a working area for operators and allows researchers to gather data within the confines of the vehicle. Researchers can monitor and supervise the NavLab from the operator's console for setup, error recovery, and tuning. The NavLab supports a choice of sensing to accommodate many types of navigation research. Video cameras provide color and intensity images for scene interpretation. Road edges, for example, are analyzed through intensity, texture, and color segmentation. A scanning rangefinder sweeps the surroundings with a distance measuring laser, which provides useful three-dimensional information about the geometry and reflectivity of the environment. Taken together, color, intensity, range, and reflectance data provide a rich basis for building natural scene descriptions. Sensor information from several sources can be fused to achieve more robust perception.
Woohoo!
Computer architecture
Look at that
integrates
speed.
distributed processes.
Look at it roar.
Sense, map,
That's
plan.
5 kilometers an hour. So that was 30 years ago. And this is now. This is Waymo in California. Well, actually, I think this is Arizona. You've got speed, you've got a happy passenger, and you've achieved something that 30 years ago didn't look possible. Now, people talk about autonomous vehicles like this is just happening. The first autonomous vehicle was developed actually in 1920. The video of the nerds in a truck was in 1986, and what is behind me is from earlier this year. The rate of change was a really, really slow, long burn. Between 2014 and 2017, approximately $60 million were invested into R&D in autonomous vehicles. Last year, $400 million was spent by one company alone to acquire another company. And so if we go back to that curve, that is what exponential looks like. That is why it feels like it blindsides you. And that is your role as the innovators, as the future holders and the custodians of what's next. Your role and your responsibility is to pay attention to these curves and to know what to look for, when to everyone else, it just looks like a flat line. Your other piece, and this is the thing that makes you see things that other people don't see, is you don't look at technology trends alone, but you look at the intersections between them. And that becomes your thesis for what becomes possible. As innovators, you are pioneering an understanding of what that means, and you should be educating and influencing your CVC funds as well to help them understand where the possibilities lie. Together, you are much more powerful. So Moore's law has been well and truly proven. My favorite is this example of, if anyone is a gamer here, Lara Croft, how Lara has evolved over the years. I'm awful, I'm very bad. But it's a really nice way to explain visually what's happened. But technology is only step one. Technology is what makes new things possible. Businesses have a choice. They can evolve, they can adapt, they can be created, or they can cease to become relevant. And this is why you get executives that don't notice what's happening until their margin is being eroded. You are ahead of that. And that is such an exciting responsibility that I do, that you do, that we all share. Just a quick note, I did notice this is the internal innovation program, but that does not preclude partnering, because a lot of the challenges that you will face, it is not a solution that you can build in-house. And I'm delighted to see you have a separate partnering team to work with you. I'm delighted to see you have a very complete process around how you innovate. That is critical, and one of my biggest lessons from my first year of running Firemark is to be humble. Acknowledge the space, the problem, what the solution could look like. Do enough to learn yourself, but know when there is more strength from partnering. One of the biggest challenges in IoT, the future of connected home, the future of connected car, the future of connected enterprise, the future of connected anything is the standards and the interoperability. By definition, that is a problem that requires collaboration. And this is one very, very interesting company behind me that I'm closely watching to see how they evolve. As an innovator and a pioneer, that is my role. My role is to watch these trends, watch the players, and know how to respond appropriately. All right, little change of tack now. So, one of my favorite navel-gazing activities is to question what is innovation. So I found some beautiful statues who are all appropriately navel-gazing. But actually, it's the wrong question to ask, particularly when you're at this stage of our journey, which is setting up a team, setting up the capability and building the muscle inside the organization. It's about actions, not words. And so these are the actions that we need to be taking. These are the questions we need to be asking and answering to have confidence to proceed. Step one, everyone can have an idea. Anyone